Every day I worked on the Late Late Show, James Corden would just be like, "Get a dog in here."
That was a great James.
Thank you. Yeah, he sounds just like Mick Jagger. No one really knows that.
Round 5.
Welcome, fellow sleuths, to Meddling Adults, a game show where we grab our wildly connected relatives and we go head-to-head to test our wits against the prowess of fictional young detectives for charity. I'm your host, Mike Schubert. I'm notoriously bad at solving children's mysteries, which is why I am safely behind the judge's table and I let others duke it out instead. Today's mysteries are from the wonderful television program, What's New, Scooby-Doo? And speaking of wonderful things, we have two wonderful guests for this episode. So let's meet these wonderful guests. First, you may know this person from their podcasting work on podcasts such as Gilmore Guys, Punch Up the Jam, and other guesting appearances. You might know their writing work from The Good Place, The Late Late Show, and the Emmy-nominated work they did on The Amber Ruffin Show. You might know his vines as Electra Lemon. You might remember his September 21st videos, his Will Smith song parodies, and his current and ongoing Demi Adejuyigbe is going to do one backflip, which did get a Best Newcomer nod at the Edinburgh Fringe, but you probably know him as the host of Points Party, a spin-off show of At Midnight hosted exclusively on Snapchat. It's Demi Adejuyigbe. Demi, how's it going?
Going great. Thank God somebody mentioned Points Party. It's my pride and joy, all 6 episodes of those show.
I was unfamiliar with it, but thanks to the powers that is Wikipedia, it was there.
Statistically speaking, most people are unfamiliar with it. I think maybe 100 people saw it.
Well, hey. Maybe one person listening is jazzed as hell because they recall. But let's meet our other guest. Our other guest is someone that you may know from their work doing sketch, improv, and stand-up at the I.O., at the Hollywood Improv, and at the Laugh Factory. You might know their music with hit songs such as Forgot Your Name, Another Vice, and Sick. You might know them as the writer and the star of Gianna, which was a horror short that won the Hollywood Just for Short's Best Horror Short Award. You might be familiar with their essay from Confessions of an Obsolete Child Actor, or their work as Katy in School of Rock, which was most notably nominated for 3 MTV Movie Awards, such as Best On-Screen Team. It's Rivkah Reyes. Rivkah, how's it going?
So good. So good to be here. Allergy season is really coming for me. So I think my mental acuity might be in the shitter today, but, you know, we're here. We're thriving.
It's all fun. It's all fun. Now, a big reason why I put the two of you together is because from what I have seen on both of your Instagram accounts, there's lots of passion between both of you for doing the various line dancing. And I don't know, like, it's new to me. I did two-stepping when I went to college in Houston. I don't know. It feels like what you two do is a little bit different, but I just felt like a head-to-head battle of the rootin' tootin' cowboy bootin' folks that are on social media, making it a trend that seems like it's sweeping the nation. Just felt like a battle. I'm assuming you two have gone line dancing together. Yeah,
of course, yes.
We actually think officially met at line dancing in LA.
Did, yeah.
Okay.
After knowing each other's work.
Yeah.
I've been a fan of Demi's for a long time.
And I have Rivkah's.
Oh my God.
Rivkah actually hosts a line dancing night in New York called Buck Wild. That is such a blast.
Right, I forgot to add that to the
Very
list.
true. Demi is a former guest teacher of ours.
Yeah. So the lore runs deep, basically.
Oh my goodness. Well, amazing. Well, I'm excited for the lore to show its way into this episode. But because I have mentioned that this is a show for charity, let's talk about the charities that we're playing for. So, Rivkah, what organization will you be playing for today?
I am playing for Trans Lifeline, which provides peer support to trans folks who have been divested from police, and they are run by and for trans people.
That's fantastic. Demi, who are you playing for?
I, no joke, was literally also going to play for Trans Lifeline.
Yay! We're all winners! Yay!
Yeah. Trans Lifeline, you're getting money today.
Beautiful. So now it's just a bragging rights battle. Great.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Whose name goes in honor of box?
Literally, when I do the thing at the end of the season where I put whose name, that's what we're playing for, and I'm super stoked about it. So that's great. And for anyone listening, we will put a link to their website in the notes of this podcast episode. So if you want to learn a little bit more about what they do, you can learn more about what they do. But let's learn about what we're doing here today on this episode. So here's how it works. I'll be recapping 3 quick mysteries from the esteemed children's television program, What's New, Scooby-Doo. Neither of you have been privy to what these are about beforehand. I'll lay out all the clues. I'll ask you for your accusations, and each correct guess of culprit, means, method, motive, etc. will earn you points. But There's also bonus points at stake. If your guess matches my incorrect guess, you'll earn a Misery Loves Company bonus point. And I say incorrect because I'm usually wrong. There's also bonus points that I can throw around, very Whose Line Is It Anyway style, just for whatever, because the world is a tough place right now. So if we're going to just try to find some joy, why not throw some bonus points for things that bring us joy? I figure let's have a little fun with it. So that's all of the spiel of how the show works. Do either of you have history with mystery novels or TV shows? Were you big into those as a kid, or are you into whodunit stuff now as an adult?
I like a whodunit now. I'm like big in the Glass Onion and the
Knives
one.
Out.
Yeah, Knives Out. And obviously I love a White Lotus moment, which we shan't get too into it. Otherwise I'll talk about it the whole time. But I knew from day one who was going to die.
That's awesome.
Just like sensed it. And I was completely right. And then my history with Scooby-Doo, the movie with Sarah Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze Jr. and all them, that is like, I think one of my top favorite movies of all time. And then I got to be in sort of like a mystery whodunit horror comedy movie a couple years ago. And it was
What was it called?
Fun. Onyx the Fortuitous and the Talisman of Souls.
I didn't know that movie was a whodunit.
Yeah, available to rent on Apple or Amazon.
Ooh, look, I'll have to check it out. Maybe that'll find its way into a future episode of Meddling Adults. We'll come full circle and see if that can be a mystery that we do on the show. That's so cool. Okay, so you're a super expert with this. Demi, how about you?
I love a whodunit. I think Agatha Christie was probably my first favorite author. I've read so many of her works. I'm trying to get my way through Murder of Roger Ackroyd right now, but also I feel like for as infrequently as I read, every year when I'm like, all right, it's time to finally read a book, it's always like a mystery novel that I walked into like a Barnes & Noble and was just like, what's this? And I get so attached to it. And I love Knives Out and Glass Onion. I said it like
Knives, Onion, and Glass Out.
Knives,
Yeah.
I love Glass Out. But I love a mystery movie. A whodunit is my platonic ideal of a story. I'm just like, yeah, set up the clues, tell me who died, or just give me an interesting thing that happened. I'm like, how? Why did that happen? So I'm very excited for this.
Cool. All right. Well, this is going to be fun then. We've got two folks who are all about it. So let's get right into it. The first mystery that we will be covering on this episode is the What's New Scooby-Doo episode titled Space Ape at the Cape. So sometimes the titles are puns, sometimes it's just a bunch of rhyming. That's what we've got here. Now, the opening scene in this episode is a woman scientist who has short black hair backing away from an alien egg. As it glows green, it expands, and then it begins to hatch. All of the other scientists run away scared, and then we get the intro song, which is perfect. And then we cut to the gang piloting a spaceship shuttle. And at first, I thought, sure, the Scooby Gang, the Mystery Machine turns into anything. They could be in space. I totally buy it. But it does actually turn out that it's a simulator. So they were doing a space simulator ride. And when they step out, you realize that they are at a base and they are being led around on a tour by our first character that we really meet with a name, Captain Treesdale. So he just seems to be some sort of like astronaut-y type dude.
Astronauty.
Oh, beautiful. I didn't even think of that. We're gonna give you a point for recognizing that astronauty could be a fun thing.
Who let the Mystery Machine into a space base? I'd be like, no, I don't know what you guys do, but you can't bring this big dog in here.
Look, they let it happen. I think a thing that's nice about the Scooby-Doo universe is they never question Scooby being in anywhere.
No.
Like he's
sure,
always allowed. And highly sensitive. I don't know if this is classified info, how intense this space base is, but it's like, yeah, sure, come through.
Yeah.
So at the space base, this guy, Captain Treesdale, brings them to mission control, and he gives them trackers to wear for security reasons. And then we cut to Velma and a younger boy who are sitting on stage for the SEA Future Scientist Competition Awards ceremony. And that's what we learn our gang is doing here. Velma has been nominated for a science award. And we have our next character presenting the award. He's the guy, I don't know if they actually say his title, but he is an astrophysicist that is basically seemingly in charge of what's going on today. And his name is Keith Dale. So he's got two first names.
Already, I don't trust him.
Yeah, I was about to say.
It's always a huge red flag. So Keith Dale is presenting the two finalists. Velma is one of the finalists, and the other finalist is a kid named Elliot Blinder. Apparently his project that he's presented is called Soybeans, rocket fuel of the future. So he's doing a thing about that, while Velma's is called How Earthworms Are Affected by Zero Gravity. Now, whoever wins this project gets their project taken on the upcoming space shuttle launch, and they'll get all the notoriety that comes along with that. Keith Dale announces that Velma has won. She won the science competition.
They're going to send worms into space. Yay.
Sending worms into space. It's going to be huge. You know how we need that important research.
Right up there with Katy Perry.
Wait, what? Is Katy going to space?
Oh, yeah.
Apparently. Fuckingly.
Like real space, or the thing where they like do the airplane that like kind of goes into space for like half of a second? Or is she like going to the moon?
I would love to see that they're not really sending her to space, but they've just tricked her into paying like $1 million to do it, and she's just gonna ride a Universal Studios ride and never know the difference.
This is actually just season 3 of the rehearsal.
Yeah.
It's just pretending.
I do think it's like they're going up for 15 minutes kind of thing.
Okay. So like the little like up and down, they're not like, she's not going to the ISS. She's not going to be.
She can't do that. We can't have her gone for that long of a time. We'll miss all of the work she's doing now.
Yes, all of the recession core music she's cranking out.
Yeah.
Yeah, gosh. Okay, well, anyway, so Velma rejoins the gang with her trophy, and she says that she got to meet her favorite scientist, Janet Lawrence. Velma pulls out an autographed photo of Janet, and Daphne notes that Janet has degrees in astrophysics and biochemistry. So pretty impressive stuff. Now, Elliot, the kid who lost, is sulking because he thinks Velma's winning project is stupid and irrelevant and who cares about earthworms. But Velma responds by saying, quote, seeing how organisms that possess a hydrostatic skeleton are affected by reduced gravity could further agricultural developments and help to colonize other planets, which we all knew. So
yeah, I was going to say that earlier.
I've been thinking that the whole time.
Mm-hmm. I was just, for any listener that was unfamiliar, I figured we should just get it out there.
I'm so curious about when you say kid, are they the same age as the mystery gang? Because I'm like, are they just beating children at science projects?
Here's the thing, and this is the eternal question. How old is the gang?
Yes,
like, no
great
one
question.
can tell. And my guess is that they're either in high school or college, because in a lot of these episodes for What's New Scooby-Doo, they're meeting up with professors, but they don't say if it's a college professor or a high school professor.
High school
I feel
professor?
Yeah, like maybe they just call their teachers professors because it's like very fancy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could go to like a college prep, you know?
Yeah. Oh, like a boarding school or something.
Like
yeah.
my high school, yeah. St. Ignatius College Prep.
Ooh, so
Wolf
fancy.
Pack was our mascot. Not the wolves, but Wolf Pack.
I guess that's promoting unity, that we're all in this together, maybe? The headcanon I like to live in is that this is their summer between high school and college, and it's just like eternally, in their like 3-month break, they're doing all these things and solving all these crimes. But the kid looks way younger, so it's not like established
Well, maybe he's a trans boy with his name being Elliot. Ever think about that?
Wow. Got you, Mike.
I actually have negative one
And
point
what was his
now.
last name? His last name was Binder? Yeah, that's a trans boy for sure.
Whoa.
It was Blinder, but we'll take
Great.
it. We'll take it. So yeah, he definitely looks younger, but I would assume they're at least like in the same sort of age range. Because yeah, it would be wild if it was like children in the competition and then these adults with science degrees come in and then Velma's dunking on him. But it seems to be they're in the same, I don't know, what's like weight class, but for brains, like that kind of
Brain
thing.
class.
Mental class.
They're brain class, yeah. So Janet Lawrence, this fancy scientist that Velma really likes. So she comes over. Velma got to meet her after winning the award, which was really cool. She talks to the group and Velma, and she explains that she works on the ETIS, which is the Extraterrestrial Information Search, aka the search for aliens. Velma asks to see the data on the research, and Janet says it's classified due to recent complications. Fred asks if he has what it takes to be an astronaut, and Janet says that being an astronaut takes a lot of work and that she could never be one because she's afraid of heights. And then suddenly there's a growling noise heard in the background. People point at a glowing purple alien with lime green spots standing up in the rafters of the building, and then it runs away into the vents, and Janet explains that the complications that turned her research classified, that's the alien. That is the complications. So we cut to Janet talking to Keith Dale, the guy who was running the thing and giving out the awards, saying that she warned him about this possibly happening. And he says that they have locked down the base and no one can leave until they sort out the complication. Enter the mystery gang ready to solve the crime. Janet asks about the shuttle launch that's supposed to be coming up soon. Keith says that it's canceled until the alien is found. Velma asks if it really could have been an alien, and Janet explains that last month she sent a probe to look for comet debris, and it came back with an unusual egg-shaped object, the egg that we saw from the introduction. Janet was about to run a preliminary scan on it when the egg hatched. No one believed her when she said that an alien might be on the loose. So she's pro-alien here. Daphne says that the egg must have been large because the alien looked like it was about 4 feet tall. But Janet says that the egg wasn't that big when she found it. The gang begins to investigate. They look around in the lab at first, and after the gang leaves, we see a new character, a janitor. She's got flowing burgundy hair, and she's sweeping the floor. She removes her hat to let us see this gorgeous locks that she's got going on, and she looks around suspiciously as if trying to make sure no one can see her. And that's it. So this is the introduction to this character. We don't get a name yet, just vibes are eyebrow-raising.
Like in a sexy way.
Look, when she dramatically takes off the hat and kind of wafts her hair back and forth, it was good. She looked good doing it. She was working the janitor outfit too. Come on, it's a good ensemble. So we then see Velma testing the composition of a gooey purple substance that was left over from the hatched egg, and she says that the egg paste is organic and it has water in it. Fred wonders if the water is related to a faucet nearby that was left running, and Velma wonders if water could have had some sort of effect on the egg, like did the water make the egg hatch? Is that why we're in this particular situation? Daphne finds a makeup container on the floor in the lab, and she's confused why that would be there. Velma thinks, oh, maybe it's Janet's, but Daphne, the expert here, says, well, she wasn't wearing any makeup at the ceremony, so I don't know why Janet would be doing her makeup in the lab. So she thinks that this could be some other makeup usage.
Good point, Daphne. That's a good point.
Yeah, unless like Janet's trying to really spruce up the look and put on a makeup face for a cute
because
scientist.
She knows the janitor is there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she's trying to be like, oh, burgundy hair janitor.
I was gonna say the alien, but the janitor too.
Oh, what if that 4-foot purple and green alien comes back? I gotta make sure I look my best. So, as is classic Mystery Inc. fashion, they split up, they look for clues. Shaggy and Scooby go to the mess hall and they play with the food dehydrating machine where you put food in and then it makes it all like shrunken and stuff so that they can eat a bunch of food. The alien, of course, then shows up and is larger than before. So instead of being 4 feet tall, it's like full adult-sized alien now. It lunges at Shaggy, but then Captain Treesdale from before, the first guy who led them out of the simulator, he jumps in front of Shaggy to save his life, tackles the alien, and the alien is able to break free by like scratching this guy. He scratches through his sleeve and like gets some of his skin. And then Scooby goes full The Shining mode on him by leading the alien on a chase into like a freezer and then locking him inside. So the alien is trapped in this freezer storage room.
Hell yeah.
Now, the janitor woman comes back. She examines the captain. She doesn't explain who she is to Shaggy when Shaggy asks, who are you? She picks up his arm, and you can see these like raised lime green spots where the scratch happened. Shaggy calls it an alien rash. The woman wraps up his arm in a sling and then takes him to the infirmary. So maybe she's more than just a janitor is sort of the initial thing, since she already knew all this sort of stuff and was like springing into helping action. The alien ends up breaking free from the hold in this freezer room. Shaggy and Scooby burst into the control room to tell the rest of the gang what's going on. And then later on, the gang is walking into a room with one of those centripetal force machines where they kind of swoosh the people around for training. And Janet's in there. She's taking notes. She explains that she's running Reggie's exercise regimen. We don't know who Reggie is yet, so people ask who's Reggie, and we learn that it's the chimpanzee that is going on the flight. So there is a chimp on the crew named Reggie, and they're putting him through his rigorous training course. So then we cut to the gang seeing Elliot, the kid who came in second place, taking a file out of a filing cabinet and hiding it behind his back. Scooby grabs it from him. Velma realizes that's the classified file that Janet was not wanting people to see. She comes over and is angry because, of course, it's a classic thing where Velma has ripped it out of his hand, and then Janet thinks Velma took it, and Velma is crushed because her hero thinks she stole this classified information from her. Elliot says that Velma took out the file, which is a lie. He also says that he tried to stop her, so double lie. Janet says, I don't care who took it. This is classified information. We just got to get it out of here. So she takes the file and walks away. And Velma says to Elliot, I don't believe in violence, but that doesn't mean I don't know how to give a mean wedgie. Elliot says that he can help the gang. Okay, both of you with big facial expressions there. Maybe it's because she knows the physics behind what gives a good wedgie, or maybe as a nerd, maybe she got a lot of wedgies, so, she's been on the receiving end. But look, she doesn't want to resort to violence, but she will hike up that dude's underwear.
Dialogue's not the strong suit of these mysteries.
No, there's other things. There's other
That's
fun.
okay. That's okay.
Could have used Demi in the writer's room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For season 4.
I would have said something like, just because I'm anti-violence doesn't mean I'm not pro beating nerds shit in.
That would have worked great for the kids program.
Everyone would be like, that doesn't make sense. She said she's anti-violence. I'm like, put it in the script.
Trust me.
Just do it.
Elliot goes to the gang and he says that he can help them. He says he found something and he leads the gang to a janitor's closet filled with spy stuff. The gang does some more investigating and Elliot then goes into the janitor's closet after they leave and he closes the door behind himself, kind of giving like a little smirking look. Only Scooby sees this. The alien shows up again. He's even larger than he was before. So now he's taller than all of the people. So bigger than 6 feet at this point. He chases the gang in a classic Scooby-Doo chase. Daphne ends up on the space shuttle with the alien following her. It corners her, but she is able to open up a parachute to trap the alien, and then she can run out. The alien follows after her, but then stops in the middle of the gangplank, so like the big cat's walk, like, I don't know how to just, it's the big like walk thing that connects the actual spaceship to like the elevator kind of thing. The alien stops halfway there and then turns around. So the gang is all back together, and Velma sees that someone has broken her worm farm that was going to go up on the space launch because she won the contest. So, of course, she thinks it's Elliot being jealous. The gang is cleaning it up, and then they hear another crashing noise. Fred runs towards that noise, and it is Elliot. He was hiding behind a storage container. So Velma confronts him and saying, hey, did you break my project? And he doesn't confess or deny. He says, so what if I did? Your project was stupid anyway. So not the greatest response from Elliot.
God, I hate men.
Just the worst. Just the worst. The gang investigates Keith Dale. They figure, let's look into this guy a little bit more. So they poke around his office. Daphne finds it odd that he wouldn't want to see the launch. Velma discovers that his internet password for his, I guess, classified internet access is Keith Razorchuck. And she thinks maybe Keith changed his name at some point. So Velma searches Keith Razorchuck on the internet, and an article about research that he did with artificial intelligence. But this show was made in 2003, so it's different artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence comes up. Velma notes that Janet recently won the Nobel Prize for her work with artificial intelligence. And Daphne notes that Keith's research was published just after. So maybe he's jealous that she kind of beat him to the punch. But what I think is the most wild thing is that his password is just his name.
Yeah.
Like, it's just his previous name.
This guy works for NASA. He should have a little more security, a little more smarts.
Just slightly more. So we then cut to Shaggy and Scooby snooping around. They see the janitor woman again. She's coming out of a dive tank room, another one of the rooms like prepping for the launch. And then Shaggy and Scooby tell the gang that they saw this, so they all decide to go poking around the dive tank room. Fred takes out the footage from a security camera to examine it. He accidentally knocks Shaggy into the water tank. All the dehydrated food that Shaggy had taken from before when they went to the mess hall expands back to their normal size when it hits the water. Fred then notes on the tape that there's a radio transmitter on it, so it seems like someone has hooked up something to the security system. He thinks maybe it's that janitor. She had all that spy material. But based on those two things, the rehydrated stuff and the radio signal broadcast on the security footage, they get an idea of who they think it is. They set up an elaborate trap to trap the alien. They do it using the centripetal force machine. They do the classic Scooby-Doo unmasking the alien, and we get to see who it is. So I turn it over to the two of you. Who do you think is the alien?
I think it's Velma's hero. What's her name? Janet
Lawrence.
Janet Lawrence.
Yeah.
I was thinking that too.
And look, we'll go with the honor code system here. You both can give the same guess. It's fine. You don't have to not pick it. If you were thinking Janet.
Money's going the same place.
Yeah.
What led you to think it was Janet?
She just seems shady. I don't know. I have a weird feeling about Janet. I just have it in my heart.
Yeah, but she said that thing about being afraid of heights and then walking out on the gangway and turning away. I'm like, it's because she was scared.
All right. Any other?
That's all I got.
Hey, look.
It's like everyone else seems too obviously shady in a way where it's like, yeah, the kid who was like, maybe I broke your dirt farm. I'm like, you didn't do it.
Yeah,
Weasel.
he has a lot. He's a lot of talk and not a lot of walk.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what they say? Don't meet your heroes. Why? Because she's the one dressed as an alien.
Well, I'm happy to report that you are both correct. It was indeed Janet Lawrence. She did it because she actually hadn't finished her necessary research before the launch. So she wanted to do something to delay the launch. So she did this whole alien thing in order to make the launch not happen on time, to give her more time to work on her project, which is the wildest way, instead of just asking for an extension.
Yeah, no, literally just being like, hey guys, I'm a single mom. My kids have been in finals and I've been helping them and like whatever. No, it's just, I'm going to do this elaborate ruse using the powers of seemingly AI and like astrophysics to... What?
It's wild.
Yeah.
Truly wild to be like, I don't have enough time. I'm going to use my remaining time to build an alien suit and egg to trick them.
Yeah.
Like, just finish the project.
For a bonus point, that was something that they brought up after the reveal was Janet. They were like, wait a second. When we first saw the alien, there was a 4-foot tall alien on the roof and Janet was in the room. How did she do that? So, do either of you two have a guess of how there was the 4-foot tall alien?
I was going to say that there was a second person involved.
Okay. Do you have a guess of who the second person would be if there was a second person involved?
No.
Okay.
I thought maybe that second alien like figure would have maybe been the janitor doing some roof work.
Okay. Both fun guesses, but the janitor does turn out to be like an FBI agent who had like been here investigating the alien stuff
I knew
and then
it.
looking into the malpractice because she didn't really think it was an alien. The small alien was Reggie, the chimpanzee that was going on the flight.
I thought about that earlier. Damn.
So Janet looping him into her dastardly deed is wild. Truly, truly evil stuff from Janet.
This is what happens when like women are brought up to believe they can't ask for help or extensions on their work projects.
So it does all fall down to Keith Dale.
So society
Yeah.
is the villain. It's Keith's fault.
It's Keith Dale. It's Keith Dale. We knew
Keith
it.
Razor Chuck.
Yeah, to go from your last name being Razor Chuck to Dale?
When there's already somebody in the episode named Captain Treesdale?
Oh, ooh.
Like, get creative.
What's that about?
Again, could have used Demi in the writer's room.
Right.
Could have used me.
Yeah, if Keith Razor Chuck was going to change his last name to something else, what would your suggestion have been?
Keith Punch.
All right, you're getting a bonus point for Keith Punch. The score is now tied 4-4 as we go into our second mystery, which is called Lights, Camera, Mayhem.
Ooh.
So, a movie scene is being filmed, and we can see that it's a teen super spy, and he is addressed by name by the villain of this scene. They call him Teen Super Spy Deac Rivers, and he's facing off against this evil villainess named Dr.
Deac?
Bikini. Deac, I guess short for Deacon?
He did it.
But they say Deac, and the subtitles, it's DEAC. So Deac Rivers. So Deac Rivers is fending off against Dr. Bikini, and she has a pretty great line, like classic Bond villain kind of thing. She says, "It's a shame that our first meeting must be our last." The scene itself goes well, but then they switch to the stunt for the scene, and the stunt goes wrong because a purple cloaked figure appears from a cloud of smoke and warns the crew with an eerie voice to abandon the filming or risk certain death. And then that's the opening scene. We get the intro music, and then we see the gang. They are driving in the Mystery Machine in Hollywood because they are going to tour Piranha Studios. And I was wondering, you two have both done acting and Hollywood type things. Is that any sort of joke, or did they just like pick a name? Because usually Scooby-Doo does puns, but I don't know what Piranha Studios could have been a joke at.
Paramount?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get like
maybe, I
something
don't
with a
know.
P.
Is there a famous studio that's also like a predatory
Like an
animal or something?
apex predator?
That's what I was trying to
Yeah.
think. Like, is there like an alligator or an anaconda
TriStar.
studios? Like
Sony.
something.
Maybe it's just like a Roger Corman thing because he made Piranha.
Who knows?
Is it like a low budget like sort of schlocky.
What we learn about this movie that they're making is that it's no one's really happy to be working on the film.
Okay.
Like they're all kind of doing it because they want to have work, not because they're very passionate about teen spy superstar Deac Rivers.
Sure.
So, yeah. They're going to Piranha Studios. We learn that Velma's aunt is the chief studio accountant, which Velma thinks is this glitzy, glamorous job. The security guard at the gate tells them that security has been tightened recently, quote, ever since, well, never mind, which is a very ominous way to introduce danger. But eventually, after Velma explains who she is and how she knows her aunt, he lets them in. They go to the stage where the monster appeared earlier for this stunt. Daphne and Velma are starstruck by being around all these famous actors. They meet the first actor, Roderick Kingston, who is a British actor who has this very over-the-top posh accent, and he explains to them that his thespian gifts are being wasted as he's just a stand-in for Chip Hernandez Jr., the lead who's playing Deac Rivers. So he seems initially envious of Chip. Daphne and Velma run over to Chip Hernandez Jr., and he looks very similar to Roderick, but he's just a little more tan. His hair is a little bit different, but he is very sad. He's slumped over in a chair. He doesn't seem happy to be there. We then meet the director, and the director is Vincent Wong. And fun fact, he's voiced by Getty Watanabe, who played Ling in Mulan. They get really solid voice actors in this show. And he is working on this film. Apparently, he got famous doing action movies in Hong Kong, where he's from. And now he's directing this Hollywood blockbuster. We see our director, Vincent Wong, begging Bull Brassman, the head of the stunt team, who has a perfect name. Bull Brassman is saying that he's going to quit because he doesn't mess with ghosts and he's taking his team off the production because he wants to keep his team safe. Feels like the most level-headed character I've ever met in a Scooby-Doo episode.
Yeah.
That's Bull.
That's classic Bull.
With a name like Bull Brassman, you're going to have a level head.
So Shaggy and Scooby ask about the ghost. Vincent explains that he was directing this teen spy beach movie, but it's turned into a horror film due to, quote, the faceless phantom. So apparently there's this studio legend that the ghost of old-time movie star Rip Bannon, another fun name, has haunted the lot ever since he died in a tragic fire years ago on set. Daphne sees a poster for a movie called Spy Me a River, and she remembers that that was Rip Bannon's most famous role. Pretty good.
That's good.
It's really good, especially because this is a mid-2000s TV show, so that's like fresh off of Timberlake's solo career becoming...
Spy Me a River.
It's really good. It's really fun. Now, Roderick, the fancy British stand-in guy, says that they are remaking that film. So this movie is a remake of Spy Me a River. Vincent says that they're not going to be making anything without a stunt team. Chip gets up to walk out of the set. He seems excited that he wouldn't have to do this film anymore. Velma and Daphne beg him to stay, saying that they solve mysteries all the time, and we get into wild antics all the time as well, so we can do the stunts. Vincent is unsure, but the assistant director is super on board. He's like, yeah, let's do this. So they head over to Vicky, the head of the costume department, to get outfitted. While they're getting fitted, they overhear Chip Hernandez Jr. on the phone saying, quote, it really is that bad. I went off the picture. I can't follow a mega hit like The Modem with this piece of teen fluff. Make it happen or I walk. So he's clearly talking to his agent.
Me when I was a child star. Just kidding.
Yeah, did you ever demand to get off the set?
No, please. I loved being there.
Fred explains to the gang that The Modem is a sci-fi thriller that takes place inside of a fax machine. So we get a good The Matrix nod, I'm assuming here. Velma is suspicious of Chip. Daphne is too smitten with him to consider him a real suspect, but Velma says that even the extremely cute are not above suspicion. And I'm saying that all the time.
Yep.
So the ghost comes back, but this time it's wearing a samurai costume, not just the purple cloak from before. It's got a samurai costume on. It appears behind them, does a classic chase scene. Vincent asks what's going on. Shaggy points out the ghost, and then it jumps out of a window. And Vincent then goes, the Phantom? Well, I'm not going to let a small detail like the ghost of a disfigured teen idol stop me. Let's start rolling. So Vincent wants to keep going on despite the scariness. So we cut to Scooby. Scooby's sniffing around. He finds the samurai costume ditched in a pile behind the soundstage. They see Roderick come out of Chip's trailer with a suspicious look on his face, and he's rubbing his wrist, which doesn't seem like a normal thing that someone does. So my eyebrows were raised immediately. And then we see the security guard from before, who was ominous. He catches Shaggy and Scooby, and he comes out from the bushes. He says that he was searching for the Phantom because he heard that the Phantom was nearby, and he wanted to stop any sort of antics that the Phantom was getting up to. Back on the set, Fred, who's now doing stunts, can't fit into Chip's stunt costume, so they have Shaggy do it instead. Vincent puts Scooby on the motorcycle behind Shaggy for the stunt, and then the writer runs up and says, "What are you doing? You can't do this. I didn't write this." And Vincent says it'll be better with a dog, so Scooby has to do the stunt. Demi, as a writer, this ever happened for you?
Where you're just like, let's put a dog on the thing. We're shooting. Fuck SAG. Let's put a dog. All the time. Every day I worked on the Late Late Show, James Corden would just be like, "Get a dog in here." And we'd be like, "But James,
it's not in the set."
That was a great James.
Thank you. Yeah, he sounds just like Mick Jagger. No one really knows that.
Get a dog in here.
Get a dog in here.
But it's all an act when he's actually on the show. That's not his real voice. That's a stage voice he puts on. So as they are mid-stunt on a motorcycle jump over a shark pit, which felt like a fun nod, the Phantom comes out from the smoke again in the purple cloak outfit from the first time. Shaggy and Scooby are about to fall into the shark tank, but the Phantom swoops in and saves them. And there were like real sharks, so he actually does save them. The Phantom warns the crew again to abandon the film or face his wrath. Vincent comes out from a booth of sorts and asks the cameraman if he caught that, because it could be movie magic if they get it on film. Then they hear a scream coming from Chip's trailer, and the gang goes to investigate. Frank busts down the door, and Velma asks Chip if he's okay. Chip turns around to reveal that his face is covered in pimples. He says that it can't be his makeup because it's hypoallergenic. Shaggy tastes it, because Shaggy, of course, and it tastes like avocado. Chip says he's allergic to avocado and quits because he thinks that someone has been tampering intentionally with his makeup in his trailer. Vincent says that they have a contract, but Chip says, "I don't care, I'm out of here." The security guard calls Chip a spoiled brat as he leaves. Vincent decides to shoot more stunts, and he thinks that's the only way we're going to keep this film on schedule. So while Fred is doing a stunt involving running away from a swarm of bees over a rope bridge, the Phantom appears again in a cloud of smoke wearing the purple cloak, slashes the rope bridge so they swing down, and Vincent says that he has bee ointment in the office. Everything will be okay, because the stunt goes wrong and everybody gets stung by bees. We cut to the gang later on investigating the security office. Velma finds a scrapbook filled with pictures of classic movie stars, and Velma thinks that Pete the security guard has been saving old pictures from past productions as souvenirs.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong. Not suspicious. Fred points to a picture of Rip Bannon, the person who we believe is the faceless Phantom. And there's a lot of pictures of Rip, and Daphne wonders why Pete has so many pictures of Rip in particular. Roderick interrupts them and says that Velma is needed on set for a stunt. The Phantom appears again while Velma is doing a free fall stunt as Dr. Bikini's stunt double. The cable rig gets jammed. Velma gets stuck in midair and has to try to get away from the Phantom. She free falls for a bit, but Shaggy drives the mystery machine in and deploys an emergency rooftop nap center to cushion her fall. So we cut to the gang investigating the cable rig, since that's what went wrong with Velma's stunt. Her harness was fine. The cables don't look tampered with, so Fred doesn't think that it was sabotage. But then Scooby finds a second set of cables, so that means that the Phantom must have been using them. It's not actually a real Phantom. It's someone trying to do something nefarious. We cut to the film crew having a private meeting in a tent when Chip comes back in, saying that he's back in to do the rest of the film because his lawyer said that he had to complete it due to his contract. Vincent, our director, is very excited. Chip, not so much. So the crew starts filming another scene. It's the climactic moment. Daphne's doing a horse jump, and it involves running alongside a train and then hopping on top of the train. And she's stunt doubling as the character Major Smoochie.
Great name.
Major Smoochie's pretty solid.
Yeah, that's my drag name.
Okay, great. bonus point. You're up 5-4. So the gang has a plan to trap the Phantom now that it has shown up. They utilize all of it. They do these chase scene that goes through like multiple movie sets. So you see all these different like spoofs towards classic films like a King Kong movie and stuff like that. And Velma is able to trap the Phantom and pull off the mask, and we get the reveal of who it is. So I turn it over to the two of you. Who do you think is the faceless Phantom?
I have some suspects.
Bull Brassman.
Whoa.
Right away. Okay. Why do you think it's Bull? And then I'll run through some suspects for you if you need the list, Rivkah.
Very distinctive name that makes you remember a character. But aside from that, I was just like, where'd he go? That's all I got.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was seemingly the most like level-headed one. He was one of my suspects. I also have Vicky, the head of costume, seemed kind of sus. And then like, how did this Phantom get a samurai outfit? And then also, I have this weird thing in my head that the security guard is Rip Bannon's son vibes.
Whoa.
I don't know.
Steve Bannon.
Steve Bannon. Rip Bannon's son. The British guy's too obvious. The stand-in is too obvious. But then it's like also like, what if they threw us like a double red herring?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Okay. I am going to let you both know you're both incorrect. It actually turned out to be Vincent, the director.
I literally, when he was introduced, I was like, might be that guy. But then damn it.
So he did it because the movie was going so poorly, and this is supposed to be his breakout film into Hollywood. He was afraid that this was going to tank him. It would be a flop. He would never get another directing job. He is kicking himself for not reading over the script more thoroughly before agreeing. So he wanted to get the movie canceled so that he wouldn't have to see it through. So he was trying to sabotage it. Now, Rivkah, you were so close. Old Pete, the security guard, is literal Rip Bannon. He is not Rip Bannon's son. He is Rip Bannon. So Rip Bannon, turns out, didn't actually die in that fire. He just got a little bit of burn scarring on his face, and he was so embarrassed and too ashamed to return to Hollywood that he went into hiding and faked his own death and then got a job as a security guard back there so that he could like still be around the production and stuff. And he just wanted to be around the filming of this because they were remaking his movie that he started.
Insane.
Well, I feel like I get a point because I was so close.
Yes, you definitely do. You get I gave Demi a bonus point for the Steve Bannon joke, and you a bonus point for basically getting that old Pete was Rip Bannon. Now, what's wild about all of this is that all of the people who were unhappy with working on the film aren't mad at Vincent for everything that they did, because they were like, we didn't want to do this movie anyway. And then some of them are like, well, yeah, and every time someone was actually in danger when you were the Phantom, you saved them. So you weren't actually putting people in harm's way. Because the whole crew doesn't like this film anyway, we cut to a flash forward in the future, and they all make the movie The Modem 2. So they make the sequel. So Chip is happy to be in his sequel. Vincent is stoked that he gets to direct a proper blockbuster sci-fi action movie. And the final scene to close out the episode is the gang going to the red carpet premiere and everyone being like, thank you so much for like helping us realize this. And it's the happiest ending I've ever seen in a Scooby-Doo episode.
I would love to live in the Hollywood where people are just like, we don't like this movie. Should we just do a different one?
Should we just do Modem 2?
Should we just do a sequel to a different film studio's
Completely
movie?
different.
Yeah.
So funny.
We want to make the Modem 2.
We already got the actor. We already got the guy.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Everyone loved Modem.
Let's make the
Let's
Modem
do
2. All right. So at the end of our second mystery, Rivkah has a slight lead, 6-5. We're going to take our little mid-episode break here, middling adults, and we'll talk about updates of the podcast and all that kind of stuff. And then we'll get back into our final mystery. Hey there, welcome to Middling Adults, the Middling Adults mid-roll break. Hello. It has been far too long since I've posted an episode of Middling Adults. I'm happy to be back in your ears. I don't have a full update about when the rest of Season 5 is going to be coming to you because I have not recorded other episodes of Season 5. Just a lot going on with the newborn baby and the other podcasts, and the new podcast that I launched with Sequoia Simone called Professional Talkers, which is all about avoiding awkward conversations. So just a lot going on right now. That being said, I do have people in mind that I've talked to about being on for season 5, and I'm going to be in discussions of trying to get those things scheduled and out in there. But basically, I had this episode recorded and I hung out with Demi and Rivkah. At the end of this episode, we're going to talk about me going to a line dancing class that Rivkah runs, and then I attended one with the two of them there, and I was like, you know what, rather than just sit on this audio in hopes that I will record other season 5 episodes, why don't I just get this up there? People have been waiting too long. So that is why this episode is here. Things that I also need to get onto the feed. We still need to do all of the season 4 wrap-up stuff. I think that would be really nice to try and do to close out the year, but again, no promises, just because the end of my year is also looking busy, but I do need to do that, I'm aware, and then I gotta get going on season 5 to continue these episodes. I hope you are enjoying this episode so far. I hope you understand why I haven't been able to post as many, just a lot going on, but we are still raising money for charity, so anyone who still supports on Patreon, that money still is going into the Meddling Adults Fund, which we will be using to pay out the season 4 stuff. And then we'll be going on to paying out the season 5 stuff as well. So if you want to be a part of that, you can go to the Meddling Adults Patreon, which is patreon.com/meddlingadults. A couple of different tiers there where you can get different rewards and stuff like that. But I am excited to one day continue season 5 stuff. I am hopeful. I spent this summer, I had an intern who helped me restock on our research. By that, I mean going through every single Encyclopedia Brown story we haven't covered, every episode of What's New Scooby-Doo we haven't covered. So I have at least worked with some folks to get the information there. That is a big part that goes into Meddling Adults. It takes a while to find the mysteries and do recaps of the mysteries and figure out what works for the show. So at least there has been work done on Meddling Adults. It's just been more behind the scenes stuff. And hopefully I will be able to get season 5 actual episodes to you in not too long. So that's what we got here. Now, what we're also going to do in this mid-roll break is take a little bit of a break for dynamically inserted ads. Those ads also help raise money for charity. And once those ads are complete, we'll continue and conclude this episode of Meddling Adults. We are back and we're here for the third and final mystery of this episode, which is titled The Block-Long Hong Kong Terror. So we're keeping things in Hong Kong, but this time we're actually going to Hong Kong, not just having someone from Hong Kong. We open with the gang celebrating New Year's in Hong Kong. Shaggy is sad because he had this cool duck toy called Duck Guy, and it broke somewhere along this trip. But Velma assures him that they can actually get it fixed because the Ling Toy Company, which made this toy, is actually based out of Hong Kong. So she suggests, why don't we just go and see if they can fix your toy? When they are at this parade, they see a Ling Toys store across the street. So they decide to walk across the street and look in the display window. And the display has a bunch of cool toys and stuff, but against all odds, it includes a display for, quote, 500-year-old Ming Dynasty candy ring, and it lists that on a little plaque. And underneath the bottom of the plaque, it does say, valuation $1 million. So it's in a display window just behind like regular window glass, and it lets the world know this is a $1 million ring.
In English.
And in American dollars in Hong Kong.
Okay. Yeah. That's a really good point. Both of you are getting a bonus point. That's wild that you would point out. Yeah, that makes no... Wow, didn't even think of that. So that's there. Ridiculous. Unsurprisingly, this ring's going to get stolen. So there's people walking through the parade with one of those big, multi-man dragon puppets. But then a bunch of smoke rises, and it turns out it's a real dragon, like a real live giant animal-looking dragon. So everyone scatters, and it ends up breaking through this window display and chomping at it. And then, of course, the ring is missing from it. It chases everybody away from the parade, and then we get the aftermath scene where our first character that we meet, Detective Kang, shows up. He shows up immediately after the dragon leaves, and he asks the mystery gang if they saw the dragon. They confirm that they did, and he's super excited because he finally has a real case that will put him on the map and stop everyone from laughing at him for being, quote, caught in his own handcuffs Kang, or swallowed the evidence Kang. So he's clearly a detective that has never really done the job, and he thinks that this is going to make a name for him in the detective world.
A charlatan of sorts.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
initially not looking great for Kang. Fred says that they should go to the Ling headquarters to investigate, and while they're there, maybe we can also fix Duck Guy. So they're walking through the streets of Hong Kong, and Shaggy sees a shadow that at first looks like his shadow, but then it runs away, so he gets very spooked. He points to where it went, and it looks like there is someone in like a man-sized teddy bear costume down an alleyway, almost like a bear mascot, and it's in the shadows. Shaggy and Scooby get really spooked. They run into the nearest door where they were walking, and it turns out that it's the lobby of the Ling Toy Company headquarters where they were headed anyway. At the front desk is the owner of the company, Harold Ling, of Ling Toy Company. Shaggy asks if Harold can fix his duck toy. Harold says that he would love to help, but he has problems of his own to figure out right now. And he starts to describe he had a store that was broken into, and Velma says, oh yeah, we were there. And he asks, was the ring stolen? And they go, yeah, the one that said it was worth $1 million. No, so they confirmed that yes, it was in fact stolen. Harold says that it was his prized possession. It belonged to the Little Ming Emperor 500 years ago. You're shaking your head, Demi.
Don't put it in the window.
I know. Yeah, my prized possession for everyone to see. If no one knows that I have this thing, what's the point of having this thing? And if people don't know how much it's worth, what's the point of having this thing?
This episode is a fable about conspicuous consumption. Just keep it all inside.
Ooh. Fred asks if he has any enemies that would want to steal from him, and Harold says that the creator of Shaggy's duck toy, Duck Guy, probably would. He was a former child genius named Louis Hong Fa, and he used to work for the Ling Toy Company. Daphne asks, why would he be out to get you? And Harold says it's because he fired him. But he says he had no choice because Louis went down this weird era of his own where he started only creating toys that would rapidly grow in size. And Harold has an example of it. It's this cute little bunny toy. And then you push a button on it and it just expands so where it takes up like the entire room. It just like grows really rapidly in size. Harold asks who would want a toy like that, and Velma says every kid I've ever met would want a toy like that. And Harold counters, yeah, but no parent would ever buy it for their kids. And that's the problem. He's really selling these toys to the parents. Velma notices that the giant rabbit has an inscription on it. It says WH12, and she is confused. But before they can wonder what this means, the dragon bursts in through the wall of the headquarters. So Shaggy and Scooby are then dangling from a support beam in the aftermath of this crash. They're holding on for dear life, and then an acrobatic woman doing all sorts of backflips and stuff saves them. And she leaves the scene before they can ask who she is, thank her, etc. Harold is worried that he's about to lose everything now that his store and his headquarters have been demolished. He says he only has one store left. It's at a mall on Victoria Peak up an 800-foot escalator. Now, Daphne, of course, is very excited about a mall up a huge escalator, so she really wants to go.
Because women be shopping.
Women be shopping. Now, what's good, though, about Daphne in this one is they do keep her to the core of, like, she knows stuff about fashion, she knew stuff about makeup in the first episode, but she's also, like, incredibly handy. There was a car racing one where she was, like, fixing the cars. There's been baseball ones where she knew all of the rules of the sport. So, like, this iteration of Scooby-Doo actually does a good job. Like, she's still like a pretty girly girl type, but then also like incredibly competent in ways you wouldn't expect. And I love her portrayal.
Yeah, because she's a femtop. She's famously a femtop lesbian. Everybody knows this about Daphne.
But of course.
And Velma's her little girlfriend.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Good for them. Happy for them. They make a great pairing. Now, Harold says he thinks that this store is the one that hasn't been harmed because no one will actually go up there. Fred says, look, we'll go check it out. We'll see what's going on. As they leave, we see that shadow bear again, but this time you can make out that it's not just any sort of bear. It is specifically a panda bear costume. So our gang gets to the store, and that acrobatic woman from before is in there. She's practicing a routine with other acrobats. They've got purple and bright gold uniforms. They're doing all sorts of flips and stuff, similar to what we kind of saw at the festival in the beginning of the episode. She introduces herself as Mei Ling, and she says that she and the team are practicing for more of the New Year's festivities. And one member of the team is her partner, Wu, and he's actually the leader of the team. He does this thing where he like dramatically takes off the gold mask, and he's got this cool hair and everything. He doesn't say a word, though. He's the silent type. He doesn't really speak much, and Mei Ling explains this to the viewer. She asks the mystery gang to keep her practicing in here a secret. She explains that her dream was to perform and travel with these folks all over the world, but her father insisted that she stay here and watch the store. She says that stuff's been bad ever since Louis was fired, and May explains to Shaggy that she had a duck girl, much like his duck guy. Fred asks where they could find Louis, and May says that he has a workshop in the warehouse district. So Velma goes, WH12, that must mean warehouse 12. So before leaving, Fred warns that they should be careful about dragon attacks. May says that she's not worried about it. So then they get to Warehouse 12. Daphne wonders if May did it to get back at her dad for tanking her dreams. Shaggy and Scooby think she's way too nice. And when they're inside, Shaggy sees a giant panda bear with a tape recorder on it. And the recording addresses them as meddling kids and asks for their help. And this voice says that people are on his tail. So he gives them instructions for where to meet. They go to the meeting location, and they actually get caught in a trap at this warehouse that was set by Detective Kang. He was trying to tie up the dragon, but the gang gets tied up in it. So they try to get him to let them out of the trap, and he doesn't let them out of it because he doesn't want them messing with his investigation. They eventually break free. They go to the meeting point. They're greeted by Louis. Louis was in a giant tiger animatronic costume, and he exits it and talks to them. We learn that he's actually been following them, so he's the dude that was in the panda suit. And he says he needs their help. Mr. Ling is trying to pin the theft and all of the attacks on him, so he wants to prove his innocence. Louis says that he is not out for revenge. He's convinced that the dragon is real, and he also puts forth that Harold could actually be a suspect. Daphne thinks that doesn't make any sense because why would he attack his own property? But Louis says that he bets that the sampan boat that he owns is probably untouched. So Velma says that they should check it out. So they split up, and Shaggy and Scooby go with Louis to go to the warehouse and also repair Duck Guy while they're there. The other three go to the boat, and they'll meet the others at the warehouse. At the boat are three of Daphne, Velma, and Fred. They enter, and everything's unlocked at every point in this mystery, by the way. No door has been locked. Not to the boat, not to the warehouse, not to the mall. Everything's been open for everyone. When they get to the boat, they see a computer is open to a webpage selling the giant toys that Mr. Ling proclaims to hate. So Velma wonders if the dragon is actually just a big publicity stunt for these giant toys that Mr. Ling thinks is ruining his business. Shaggy and Scooby are at the warehouse with Louis. The dragon approaches the exterior. Louis goes to get the repair tools, and then a masked person runs in with a rickshaw. They throw Shaggy and Scooby in and then run off just before Fred, Daphne, and Velma come back from their adventure on the boat. So they're trying to find Shaggy and Scooby. They can't, but they do find gold dust on the ground. And then the dragon shows up. Then they have a chase scene, and because of the glitter, Velma says we should go back to the Ling toy store up in the escalator. Those people had gold costumes. I wonder if they know what's going on. When they arrive, Shaggy and Scooby are tied up inside, and Velma thinks that Mei Ling could be involved now. Shaggy asks why would she want them not to snoop around. Velma says so that she and her team can just leave and, accomplish her dreams, and they don't have to worry about Harold's business because it's tanked. Shaggy counters that this store is unharmed, and of course on cue, the dragon comes in and attacks. There's a chase scene. Mei Ling saves the gang again. They were going to fall off the side of the mountain that this thing is on top of, so she saves them. And then Velma finds it strange that Mei Ling keeps coming in right always as the dragon. So the dragon always leaves and then she's there right after. So she thinks that's a little suspicious. Kang also is there right after, Detective Kang. He's asking where the dragon went. Daphne finds it suspicious that he keeps showing up after all the attacks once they're over. So he runs off. The dragon returns later and grabs Mei Ling. So Scooby tries to save her. He's unsuccessful, but he tears off a piece of fur from the dragon. And Velma thinks that doesn't feel very dragon-like. So they're suspicious of what's going on there. Shaggy says, we got to save Mei Ling. She saved us. So they put their heads together and they realize that the attacks have only been following Shaggy and Scooby. And the proof is that when the other three went to the boat, nothing bad happened. But Shaggy and Scooby were at the warehouse and the dragon attacked the warehouse. So they're trying to figure out why is the dragon only attacking Shaggy and Scooby? So Fred's got a plan. And I don't know how they do this, but they make a duck guy mech, like a full robot Megazord Power Rangers duck guy mech. They don't explain. I'm assuming Harold, the guy who has made other animatronics, made it for them, but they never discuss that.
That's insane.
It's wild. So they got a giant duck guy mech, and they have Shaggy and Scooby in the parade as bait. There's a chase scene, and the other three grab Shaggy and Scooby and put them in the mech. So we basically have a Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla thing going on. The dragon ends up being defeated, and the way that it's defeated is getting caught in a fireworks display and then getting shot up into the sky and then crashing back down. And they take out the people or the person responsible for this dragon operation. So I turn it to the two of you. Who do you think's behind it?
I was going to say it's Mei Ling because of the gold dust from her acrobat costume. But now I'm not so sure.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing about the detective. It was just like, first thought, best thought. Detective is like, I want to solve a case that makes me seem smart again.
Yeah, so he makes it. He makes it himself. And maybe it's him and Mei Ling are a team because you need more than one person to power the dragon. And the masked man maybe was Wu also in on it as her partner / accomplice.
Ooh.
A trio of baddies.
Is your final guess that it was everyone?
No.
Because look, I love the theorizing, but I want to make sure we get our official sealed answers before I let us know who's the victor.
Is it Harold who owns the store and who got his ring taken?
Yeah, Harold Ling is the owner of the Ling Toy Company.
I'm going to say Harold because it's an insurance fraud thing. I don't know.
Ooh.
Look, every 1970s episode of Scooby-Doo, it's always insurance fraud. I don't know if that was rampant in the 70s, but a lot of the old Scooby-Doo ones are like, oh yeah, it's the person who was in charge of the thing and it was insurance fraud.
I think it's Detective Kang because he wants a cool case to work on, so he just makes one.
Okay, well, I am happy to let you know that, Rivkah, you will get a Misery Loves Company bonus point because my guess was that it was Detective Kang. In Scooby-Doo, I always just guess the first person. I always think it's the first person. But actually, it turns out that the person behind it was Wu and the Acrobats.
So I was right both times-ish.
Ish. Yeah.
Ooh, you never trust the silent type.
Ooh, yeah. So what it turns out is that he took the candy ring. He wanted to steal it just for the money because it was displayed. The reason he was specifically going after Shaggy and Scooby is because they were the ones in front of the display when he went in and bit the window through as the dragon. And he was afraid that the two of them would have seen inside the mouth because that's where the steering apparatus was for the big animatronic dragon that they were driving. He was afraid that those two people would be able to identify him, or I guess that one person and one dog would be able to identify him. So that's why he kept going after Shaggy and Scooby in particular. We also learned that the masked rickshaw person that saved Shaggy and Scooby was Mei Ling. She did it to protect them because she picked up that the two of them were always getting attacked. So she felt bad and just wanted to save them. So that was the whole mystery. And what she ends up doing is she had that Duck Girl toy that she mentioned to Shaggy. And as a gift and a thank you, she gives Duck Girl to Shaggy to replace his broken duck guy.
I gotta see what this duck guy toy looks like.
I know.
I gotta get it replaced.
Pull it up.
Yeah, if you Google block long Hong Kong terror, the Scoobypedia page will show up because not a lot of things titled that. There is thankfully a very in-depth Scooby-Doo Wikipedia on the internet. Thank you to the internet. The final two notes though in the post-credit scene is that there is also a giant mech duck girl, unexplained, but it does show up and become, I guess, partners with Mech Duck Guy. And then when Fred takes the candy ring off of Wu's hand because they're arresting him, and Fred goes, "Wait, we didn't take the ring." When he takes it, Wu kind of struggles and it flies off. And of course, it lands in Scooby-Doo's mouth and he accidentally swallows the $1 million ring. And that's the end of the episode.
I'm gonna take $1 million shit later.
Ooh, maybe that'll be interesting.
That's what I would have pitched as the title of the episode.
$1 million shit.
And they're like, "You're fired.
Yeah,
You're
okay.
not. You keep wanting us to write shit in this kids'
children's show."
A last-minute bonus point to Debbie for $1 million shit, but that is the end of the episode. It's a narrow victory. Rivkah, you have reigned victorious with a final score of 8-7. You will be on the donation slip for Trans Lifeline. How does it feel to be the champion of this episode of Meddling Adults?
Oh, it feels great. I do want to share it with my friend Demi, though.
Wow.
In the spirit of line dancing, we do it together.
This is a two-step, if you will.
Yes, there's a partner dance.
Yeah.
Which I do not do. I am too sweaty
Me
to partner
neither.
dance.
Yeah, I don't like that. That's not what I'm there for.
I guess I'm the weird one. I've done the two-stepping, but not the other stepping.
When you said that, I was like, that's so funny. I grew up in Texas and never line danced or two-stepped while I was there.
So I didn't grow up there, but I went to high school and college there. And in college, there was a place in Houston called Wild West, and that was like the thing. It was all like the partner dancing. It's a fun spot, but it's like, to me, it was reminding me of like going to like ice skating rinks, because like the partner dances like all like move in, like they all kind of like go in the oval around the dance floor, and they do like 45 minutes of like partner two-stepping stuff, and then 15 minutes of just like whatever is the most popular music at the time, and then it's just like general sort of like break dancing, general sort of like hip hop dancing and stuff. Break dancing, people bring out the Cobra boxes, but then they do a line dance to kind of like bring everyone back in and get ready for the partner dancing. So you two could at least be there for that portion. For me, I was always there. I knew like just enough two-stepping to get by, and I was really there for the 15 minutes when they were just playing hip-hop music. I was like, this is where I know what's going on.
Oh, well, you got to come out to New York and come to Buckwild.
I'll have to. That sounds super fun.
Yeah, we do a lot of line dancing, and it is at like a pretty canonically country bar, but when I'm DJing, we are line dancing to lots of hip hop and not country music.
That sounds delightful. I'll have to make it happen. I'll message you about it afterwards and come through, because that sounds like a treat. But what was really a treat was having you two on this episode. Thank you both so much. This was so fun. Glad we could make this work. If people want to find you doing stuff, where can they find you doing stuff? Rivkah, how about you go first since you won?
Oh, yes. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Rivkah.Reyes. I'm on X, but I don't really use it that much anymore. And it's just Rivkah Reyes, no dots. You can catch me in One of Them Days, which is out on Netflix. #1 movie on Netflix as of the date of this recording right now.
Congrats!
Yes, and you can find my music on Spotify under Rivkah Reyes or wherever else you listen to music.
Awesome. What about you, Demi?
I'm at Electrolemon on Instagram and pretty much every other platform. I'm just like, why am I on there? So don't follow me there.
Amazing. Well, thank you both. I really do appreciate it. This was a delight. And thank you to everyone listening. And I'm just glad that we could, bring together the line dancing duo for another fun episode of Meddling Adults.
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw indeed.
Yeehaw.
Round 5.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Meddling Adults. Meddling Adults is created, hosted, and executive produced by me, Mike Schubert. It is produced and edited by Sherry Guo. The music is by Bettina Campamanes and Brandon Grugel. The art is by Ma'ayan Atias and Kelly Schubert. And the web design is by me and Kelly Schubert. If you want to learn more about the show, you can go to our website, meddlingadults.com. If you want to follow the show on social media, we're at Meddling Adults on Instagram. We're also on Twitter, but we don't post there ever. And if you want to support Meddling Adults and help us raise more money for charity, 3 things you can do. 1, you can go to patreon.com/meddlingadults, where you can contribute to our Patreon fund, which funds the money that we give to the charities after we cover expenses. 2, you can just listen to the podcast because ad money also raises money for charity. And 3, you can go to meddlingadults.com/merch and you can get Meddling Adults merch. And that merch also raises money for charity. We've got the Idaville baseball tees. I think we might still have some of the Murder Hornet stickers up there. I'm not sure if we sold out of those, but those are the 3 ways you can help us raise money for charity. And if you want to also just help out the show, tell folks about the show, because if more people listen, more people download, we get that ad money. That all really, really does help. It'll help more people find out about the show as well. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for your patience. And until I find my way back onto your feed, whether that is about season 4 logistics or a season 5 episode, until then, you've been a bunch of great meddling adults.